welcome to the Pitch of Discontent. I'm back again for another guest episode. Joining me today, two men in hats. Hello, fellas.
Three men in hats.
Hello. G'day, man.
I just thought we'd all be matching for today's episode.
To be fair,
You need a black
Yes.
one. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. I went for the camo to try and like blend in. I'm actually not wearing a hat, so I don't know if you can tell.
we've also got black shorts on. So
This is true.
Yeah.
the uniform.
I should have done all black, but I've gone for like the white. So I feel like the odd man out, but
It's all good.
Honestly, it's the easiest thing for me to pack my wardrobe with. Is just it goes with everything. It's
Yeah.
black.
Fashion
black
podcast.
fashion podcast, that's right.
life. Just all black.
We've got the boys from Tumour in the pod. Dan, Dane, hello. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for
Thanks,
having us.
man.
We love the pod. Yeah.
We do. Yeah. It's a great podcast. Thank you.
Dan, this is your second time on the show.
Yeah.
Returning champion. We had you in for, I guess, like the Plovers, like eulogy.
Yeah. Yeah, winding that band down
Winding that
before
band
like the
down.
last show and stuff, the
Yeah.
album and everything. That was a very different band, I guess.
Completely different vibe.
Pretty like familiar to be back, but talking about a completely different thing. So
And also just doing a completely different role in said band.
yeah,
So
yeah, absolutely.
you're a man of many talents.
Thanks. I don't know. I just make it work.
Yeah.
It was something fun to try. I guess maybe we'll go into that soon. But
Are you
Thanks.
still doing Class Trader as well?
yeah. So I'm still playing drums in that band. So
Okay.
I'm doing the two bands
Yeah. See?
actively.
Look at you.
And
Filling all these different
well,
roles.
drums is my thing. So that's 15 years of that.
Yeah.
This is new though. So
Okay.
yeah,
We'll get into all of that.
cool.
Dane,
First time.
First time, long time.
Yep.
Thanks for coming through.
Yeah. Good to be here.
Let's talk about your week. I've heard it's been shit.
Yeah. We're just saying it's Monday and we've had a shit week.
You're
Had a
right.
bad, had a bad like 20 hours
Yeah,
so
yeah.
far.
yeah. But it's good now. That's
Okay,
good. Yeah.
that's good. And Dan,
Yeah,
your
look,
week.
same deal. Honestly, it's you know.
What's happening to my boys? What have you guys been through?
You know, you just grind. It's you do what you got to do, and sometimes that thing you're doing is just, I don't know. We're really understaffed at work, so you know,
Right.
it's one of those.
What do you do for work?
weeks. Marketing. So, which is the most broad, generic word to use for
Right.
work, and I hate saying it.
You're
But
doing like online, like digital kind of
yeah,
marketing?
e-commerce. Wearing like 7 different hats, including this one, and like it's a lot. But anyway,
That sounds brutal.
doing this is like a nice
Palate cleanser?
breakup. Yeah, exactly.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you do for work, Dane?
Graphic designer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Um,
Similar to marketing.
c-
In that you probably
It's-
fucking hate doing emails.
It's in that
and
way
working
more
with
talented.
clients.
It's in that world.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I have a design studio, the identity branding, that kind of thing, art direction.
Yeah, cool.
I think it's a little more fun than marketing.
Oh yeah, it's. I see what you do, and I'm just like, yeah,
looks
that's
fun.
sick.
Yeah, yeah.
You're essentially like bringing people's like marketing vision
True.
to life.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
Dan is responsible for perhaps creating that vision
Yeah.
and doing all the nuts and bolts of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I complain about the being grinding in the capitalist society, and here I am fueling it.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
marketing.
We gotta do it.
Oxymoron, honestly, but
Yes, it's the paradox of the modern age.
bills to pay.
But it makes me think that with your particular backgrounds, perhaps the best men to have on the show to talk about the band and this new record
Yeah.
that you guys are here to talk about, because you got marketing brains.
We like to talk.
Yeah, you got vision.
Yeah. Think so.
We try.
We try. For a little death metal band, yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of little death metal band, for people who aren't familiar, let's give them the formal kind of introduction.
Yeah.
Dane, you can start. What do you do in Tumour? How long you been in the band? Original member, founding member?
Oh, this came up recently about the idea of how the band started. So I think the band started in phases, and there was a pre-Tumour phase, which Dan was a founding member, Well, it wasn't Tumour at that point.
Right. Interesting.
So he's the Phil Collins of the band, where he started on drums
Yeah.
with Ned, who's still playing in Tumour, Angus, our old singer, and Josh, our old bassist. Jammed for a while. Dan went off and did either Diploid or Plovers or both.
I think it was both. Yeah.
And then I think it sort of cratered. And then I was thinking earlier about when I think Ned wanted to fire it up again, and it was actually like the last night the Reverence was open in Footscray,
Okay.
because we both lived sort of nearby.
Right.
And I remember just talking to Ned, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm doing this band, blah blah blah, having a few beers." And then I think and 2 hours later or something, he was like, "Do you want to join this band? It's like this heavy band." I'm like, "Yeah, of course." Like Ned's in the band. And then Roger, I think, would have been in the kitchen at the same time. The first drummer of Tumour.
Right.
So it's something about the Reverence bringing the band together, which was cool.
Yeah.
So that was, after Dan had left and vacated the throne, Roger picked it up. I joined on guitar. And that's when we picked the name Tumour.
Okay.
Which
What was the previous name? Or was there a previous kind of name to that incarnation?
Yeah. It wasn't very good.
What was it?
The band was different. From memory, when Ned was not selling it, but telling me like what it sort of sounded like, it was like more like Cult Leader end kind of pretty dark and emotional.
Yeah, it was different.
Yeah,
Definitely different. I mean, the working title, obviously the band never became a band. We were still just jamming.
Right.
But it was like Die Alone with a full stop at the end. It was like,
That's right, the full stop.
lowercase and, just like,
I fuck with it.
I don't know.
That's fine.
Look, that sort of stuff is like
If you
big
did it
now, though.
now,
Yeah. It's
fuck.
actually
That shit would hit.
Yeah.
So-
Full stop, especially
ahead of its time, maybe. But anyway.
didn't work out.
It kind of reminds me, there's like this scrunky, kind of chaotic metalcore band that like I never really see people talk about, but I always thought was sick, and I always thought the name was like that exact level of like corny, but like kind of dope. And it was GIF from God, but it was like GIF as in like the online GIF.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like
dude.
like dot GIF from God, and I was like,
That's sick.
That's kind of dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Dialone.
See,
That
those
works.
Dialone, yeah. I think like with a name like that though, you have to be heavy as fuck. Like you
Yes.
have to back it up. And I don't think we were heavy enough at the time. Which is why like if you heard the songs back then, you'd also cringe. But
I only heard the Guitar Pro, and it sounded heavy.
okay. Well anyway.
But that's sort of once it shifted to the me and Roger coming into the band, then we could settle on the name Tumour, which that has stuff behind it too. Do you want to get into that?
100%. Let's
So
go. This
it's
is
funny-
this is the format for
So
these discussions.
the name is funny because it's like I think at first glance it's just like, oh yeah, dumb fucking death metal band name. But after we started jamming, which was like pre-pandemic, pretty early on, Angus, the original singer, had a like hectic health battle with a brain tumor.
Right. I kind of wondered if that was kind of like a
Yeah.
personal kind of angle.
So that EP that we did with the sort of like collage cover, that's like his brain scan. But my history with the name Tumour is like I had a sarcoma when I was like 12 years old, had my leg amputated.
Yeah.
So I've had cancerous tumor, and then let's say like a year or so after Gus's battle, Josh, the bass player, ended up with a big fucking, what was it, like tennis ball size or like tumor in his neck.
Jesus.
So we were like, we have to call the band Tumour.
Are you guys
we're,
kind of
we're
like-
taking it back?
Are you inviting this into the universe? Just like summoning the power of the tumor?
Well,
Yet to see.
I don't know about the power. I just maybe
the monkey's paw of the tumor.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I'm sure there's some people that see the name and they're just like, well, that's a bit close to home because it like sort of hits everyone. Like,
Yeah. I mean, both my parents have had
Yeah.
like neurosurgery and tumors and stuff. So
My-
like definitely sucks.
my dog died of a really invasive tumor. So it's like it sounds hard as fuck and it's kind of gross, but it's got a bit of like self-reference to it, and
It's evil.
It's evil.
Malignant,
And
violent, grim.
Now we're
works.
like leaning into this like people are tumors kind of thing, you know, like that's,
the philosophical Tumour. Yes.
yeah. Lyric on the new record, Tumour of the Soul. So we're like,
Ooh,
we're
let's
we're
go.
flipping it, yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're having fun with tumors. So that's how the name came about. And that was sort of first phase of Tumour proper. Then, you know, we went through the demo EP phase of the band. And then there was another lineup change with Reese coming in and joining on drums, Angus departing, Dan coming back doing the Phil Collins thing, jumping on vocals. And that was sort of, I guess, like phase 2.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by like there's a couple of phases to the band, like 2.5 phases to the band proper coming together.
I was running through the Bandcamp
Yeah.
in kind of prep for this chat and kind of doing notes and stuff, and listening to all of the projects like chronologically.
Yeah.
You do kind of get that sense that there's like some subtle kind of like shifts in
Yeah.
in tone, in technicality,
Yeah.
in lyrical focus.
Yeah.
Like it's still heavy. It all sounds like Tumour, but there's definitely like errors of the band.
I think it's like
musically.
different songwriters. So Angus and Ned were, like writing everything before I joined, and then there was like, so I joined the songwriting part of things, and Roger had this pretty interesting style that he brought to the band, and I think I was thinking about that too. That idea of the there is like a core sound, but it's definitely one of those bands where everyone brings something to the table. It wasn't like, you know, we want to sound like this type of death metal, or we want to be a mosh band or whatever. And, you know, those bands are great, but we definitely fall in the camp of like everyone brings something to the table, like the potluck approach. And, you know, like Roger had a very specific style of drumming, which you hear on the demos and the EP. And then when Reese joined, it became more of like battering a ram, power violence kind of approach.
Yeah.
Vocals obviously changed up quite a bit, but yeah, and then I started writing more songs. Gus dropped out of the band, so Ned was driving it a lot more. So it's just natural, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Dan, we were talking about when you were on the show previously, which was the Plovers eulogy that I mentioned. So that was around August 2024. And I think in that year, that's the same year that you guys do the Burn in Hell split.
Oh, yeah, because that was the first recording Dan was on, yeah. And
Yeah.
Reese. And Reese,
Yeah, it was the same year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Time
that
flies.
was kind of where I had the demarcation, I guess,
Yeah,
in like the previous eras.
You were still in Plovers when you joined Tumour.
Correct, yeah. So
I remember you going,
yeah.
3 bands is killing me.
yeah, I was very ready to see the end out at the end of Plovers out. I mean, granted, like doing vocals, like it's hard as fuck for different reasons though, but like I wasn't having to lug a kit everywhere.
Yeah.
Like I was the other
Sometimes.
two. Yeah, sometimes. But like I don't know. But yeah, it was rough. That was a big year, yeah.
Yeah.
So with the stuff Dane's mentioned about you kind of being in this proto version of Tumour and then kind of taking a leave of absence and then kind of circling back through. So when you come back, what's the conversation like about joining? And is there any kind of trepidation that you have about like stepping up to do vocals as opposed to doing drums previously? Like,
Yeah, 100%. Like I had done. Well, I'd never really done like harsh vocals before ever. I think the way that it sort of came about was, well, Angus was leaving the band for personal reasons, and obviously the other guys wanted to keep going, needed a vocalist, and like I was already good friends with Josh, the bassist at the time. I knew Reese, I knew Ned. I hadn't really met you yet, but I think I did like a little guest spot for Terminal Sleep just for fun at, it's like Mind Snare or something like that, the Bendigo. And Dane happened to be there and see it. And I kind of probably at some point drunkenly floated the idea to Josh, I think, who I worked with, just like, oh, you know, like what if I was to join, and not really thinking about it. But it ended up just like, I ended up getting hit up and just being like, do you want to give this a go? It was really hard at the start though. Like I
Blowing your voice out. Shit.
blowing my voice out, but like straight away I was just like, have I just like bitten off more than I can chew? Am I way in over my head here? And like, not only just for myself, but because I was joining this band that already existed. It wasn't like a new project where I could just opt out and be like, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
It was just like, these guys are wasting like every month that goes past without a vocalist is time that they're inactive.
Yeah.
So
We're like pretty conscious of like every time we've had to change the personnel lineup of the band, it's always been like almost like go to the Friends network first
Yes.
before putting the Melbourne forum ad up. And like that happened with Reese, happened with Dan. We have another bass player now, Jim. He's like, you know, I've known him since high school, so it was always like, keeping it in the family kind of thing. So that was another thing. We're like, well, you know, we all get along with Dan.
We have history.
We heard him
there.
yell once on stage.
But that's the thing. That it's crazy that you can tick all those boxes, but if the vocals aren't there at all, and I'm sure there were like points where you were just like, oh, like we're fucked up, probably for the first few months. And I remember like I recorded a demo into Audacity, like just terribly, just to send, just to be like, give it a go. But I couldn't talk for like, I think I got sick. I couldn't talk for like 3 weeks after that. It sounded like shit. So, you know, I mean, you guys just were like, look, no, you got this.
It'll work.
And
yeah, it'll work. It did.
over time, I just found it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Melissa Cross videos and shit. You know.
Beautiful. Love Melissa.
Yeah.
Everyone's favorite.
She's a real one.
Just another thing about Dan coming back into the band and people coming and going. Another thing I think with the formation of the band that's pretty interesting is you know what I'm talking about. Everyone coming with like different influences and approaches and that kind of thing, rather than just going like, oh, we're doing a beatdown band.
Yeah.
Every member, I think, at every point, maybe apart from Reese, who's just, you know, grind for life, everyone was doing something completely, like not completely unrelated, but very outside of hardcore and death metal.
Yeah.
Like Dan was doing plovers. At the first phase of Tumour, like Angus hadn't done anything super heavy for a while. Ned was playing in Stockades. I think Stockades has ended, but that was his most recent thing. I was doing like a, you know, like jangle power pop band.
Beautiful.
Josh had been doing like, I don't know, like post-hardcore shit or something. It was like everyone was, you know, it wasn't necessarily a returning to the roots kind of thing, but I think the common thing was just like, we want to do something heavy. And then going back to that night at the Reverence, I think Ned and I were chopping it up about heavy shit because we've got a lot of shared weird, you know, teenage interest in like, you know, heavy music.
Yeah.
I was like, I haven't done anything heavy in a while. Let's do it. And then even Jim, who just joined, he's, you know, he plays bass with Jess Locke's band. So now he's doing a death metal band. So it's this like everyone just sort of gravitating towards the band to get this like urge to play heavy music.
Yeah, and I think that desire, that like collective desire, I think is kind of crucial because that way you can like have a real kind of passion to kind of like find out what kind of heaviness you can do individually, but also like together,
and
collectively.
That's, like the sort of taking it back to the vocals, like that's sort of I guess we probably saw that as well. Like it's like Dan wants to do something heavy as fuck again, and you know, another one of those things where we like bonded over, you know, Jesse Leach Killswitch vocals and shit, like like those early chats, and we're like, oh, this is gonna be sick.
But like all of us have such different like preferences for heavy music as well. I think we spent a good like 10 minutes trying to find a band that all 5 of us at the time with that lineup actually could agree on that we all liked. I think we landed on Slipknot or something. Like,
pretty easy one.
But like Ned's not really into metalcore. I'm not really into prog, but he is. You know, there's just we all bring a different like I guess flavor of heavy influence as well, which is really cool.
Yeah, and we didn't like when Dan started on the vocals as well. It wasn't like, oh, we want you to sound like Corpse Grinder or something. Although a couple of takes on the split, we were just like, that sounds like Corpse Grinder. Does he know what he's doing?
No.
The influences and, you know, outside interests from heavy music is, I think it's pretty it's not unique, but it's like a pretty important component of what makes up this band.
Yeah, I would agree. To the point about like those first few takes and getting your vocals down, obviously like going into an established band on vocals, there's already kind of like a mental map in your mind of what the band sounds like with that vocalist.
Yeah.
And I would imagine, I've never had to do this myself, but you would want to like kind of like emulate it, but not copy it. Because you kind of want to do your own thing, but you don't want to do something like wildly fucking different that's going to like fuck with the previous like flow and vibe of the band. So like, how did you thread that needle in being like, what kind of vocal approach am I bringing here? Because we'll talk about the record in a minute, and like I feel like the record does have a different kind of vocal style to some of the older material, which is because
even the split,
which is because of your contribution. But how did you approach it?
Well, so at first it was just survival. It was really about just finding my voice, like finding out how to do it consistently. Yeah, 100%. Like I went and I like paid for like expensive like vocal lessons and stuff for like a short term, just to, like, because it was this sort of deep end experience. So I think I can't remember how long it was, but it might have been maybe 2 or 3 months before we recorded that split originally that I had to
Did we record before you played a show?
I can't remember now. It was about the same time. So it was all about the same time. But yeah, so I think the split, recording that was kind of like the sort of the next step. It was like, oh, I can do this now. Like I'm on record. It sounds fine. Like, you know, these guys were saying it sounded good and that's all I needed to hear. But I was conscious of that as well, of like Gus, the previous vocalist, who was like really, really good, and an actual vocalist, like he'd done it before as well.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to just come in and just like poo-poo all over this stuff that he'd done as well.
Because there is kind of like a respect thing there. Like you want to be able to like continue that legacy of that previous kind of era of the band. You have to sing those songs. You have to like do...
That's what I was thinking about. Like, did you... Because for a while we were doing a set with half the songs were...
No, they were mostly new. I'd only played one or two that were the old songs. And you guys were pretty keen to phase them out quickly, and I was like okay with that, because I think that also helped me get over that sort of
imposter
performing
syndrome type thing.
Yeah, and I'm friends with Gus as well, outside of the band, and knew him already. So it wasn't just necessarily like something I was worried about with the band, but also like, you know, as a friend, he was super supportive as well. He was great. He was just like giving me tips, and he was just like
a passing of the torch.
Yeah, he was like full like supportive of me, and that made it a lot easier as well.
Yeah, just thinking he's like being slightly deeper about it. His lyrics were, before Dan and I started doing all the lyrics, his lyrics were pretty personal.
Yeah.
Like it was a lot of like mental health stuff and lived experience, and you know, like talking about the brain tumor thing, and so imagine like trying to scream those vocals, those lyrics would be kind of a bit like jarring as well. But
100%.
You did it, yeah.
But that also like was a barrier to finding my voice originally, I think, as well. Is not actually sort of, the more I had to think about it, the harder it was, I think. And then when it became something that I was. Yeah, that I knew just had no connection to the previous.
Like a clean slate type thing.
Slate.
Allows you to kind of be a bit more creatively free with it, because you don't feel like you're boxed in certain ways with what came before.
Correct, yeah. So, but I think after that point, when we recorded the split, I think it was from there we really started like just, it was kind of full steam ahead, and I didn't really have those issues actively, like worrying about the old Tumour or anything like that. And it felt pretty good, yeah.
I'm keen to talk about the new record because there's lots to get into there. But before we do that, what was the first live show like with you joining the band?
It was at Revs.
I can't
It was
Holy
Revs with
shit, I was
Justice
like-
for the Damned.
I was like, oh, it was the show we played with End, but that was Reese's first. We got a fucking theme going on
yeah,
here.
it's a fucking
The first show
carousel, dude.
Reese played with us, we gave him a month to learn the songs, and then we played with End.
Cool. Not
He
not
killed
sweaty
it.
at
I
all.
was there as a
Yeah, you-
spectator,
yeah, you were-
and
yeah,
I was
yeah.
watching him, and I was like, he smashed it. Yeah.
And then Dan's first show, we played with Justice for the Damned at Revs.
Yeah,
And that was
volatile
fucking
ways.
sick, yeah.
And, that was awful for me. I hated it so much. like it was fun, but like, man, I just jumped straight from the very back of the stage as a drummer to the front, and like I just felt so weird. And
Had you ever like fronted a band?
no, never. And like
That's rough.
so I jumped
And then
like
seeing
2
the
steps
photos back.
ahead. Yeah, well, that's the other thing is that when you're a drummer, you get ignored most of the time by photographers. So all of a sudden, there's all these photos getting taken of you, all these body dysmorphia things that you didn't expect or know about come up. And the show was also like full of mosh kids, right? And we didn't really have many breakdowns or anything. So trying to like toe that line between, coming off as a cool band and it's my first show, and like I laugh about it now, but
Yeah.
it was definitely like trial by fire.
That was
for
the
sure.
first show, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So since that,
Mm.
do you feel like you found your groove on stage?
Yeah.
Are you a lot more comfortable in that role?
I think so. I think
we-
the Southeast Asia tour that we did was the
Yeah.
thing for me that just made me go, well, this is the thing I do now. So
I think we're just pretty quickly like it was all very deep end where like Dan was saying we were active and had plans and stuff, so we're like, yeah, maybe that was part of the appeal of joining as well. It was like we're like we want to start touring and shit. We need someone to step in.
Yeah.
So I think from there we played a couple of shows around Melbourne to get Dan warmed up. Opening for Justice for the Damned as a warm up is a bit.
It's a great warm up show.
Yeah.
it was fun though.
And then we're like let's go. We went and played in Adelaide, went and played in Sydney, and just started sort of smashing it to see what this lineup looked like. And
Yeah. You got to battle test it a little bit.
yeah, and then the opportunity came up to go to Southeast Asia with Diploid because Reese was booking it. It was all very DIY, and we're like, can we come too? And he's like, yeah, cool. So like, all right, damn, we're going to do what was it, 5 shows in 7 days or some shit
Yeah,
like that.
41 degree heat, and it was good fun.
Yeah,
It's
going
good.
in and out of aircon and humidity and just people chain smoking around you. So
Yep.
your voice held up for that. So I think you're good.
Yeah. No, well, that's it. That was kind of like, if I can handle that, I can handle anything.
Yeah.
And I think I'm definitely at the point now where it's the same as with the drumming, which is the part that I love about performing is when I don't have to think about it and I can just like black out for like 20 minutes, half an hour, and just play.
Good blackout.
Not black out from being drunk. So it's just, you're on a fugue state. It's very primal. You kind of just like
Like an
you're
out of body experience.
at the
type
end of the
thing,
set,
yeah.
you just like don't remember any of it, kind of thing. But I think that's the part about it that I love anyway, is just being able to switch the brain off and just
Primal.
go beast mode.
Yeah, fuck yeah. I want to talk about the record. So, Dan, you joined the band. You're singing mostly new material.
Yeah.
You get the kind of jitters out for the live show. You kind of find your groove. When's the conversation about like let's lock in and do a record? Let's do the debut LP.
To be honest, it's probably like without doing the band business plan. I think between me and Ned and Josh, who was sort of like the core of the band for the longest part of the band's history, I think we're always like demo, EP, split, LP. Like
Yep.
it's kind of just had to happen.
It feels like the natural next step.
Amongst other things, which were like, we want to do Australia tour at some point, international tour. Somehow we did the international tour first. So there was things about some logistical things that we were always like, these are the sort of things we want to check off. Not as in like, we'll do this and then we'll split. It was like, well, that's what we're going to aim towards, and doing an LP was always a part of that, like
Yeah.
a physical vinyl, despite it being a pretty insane financial decision.
Yes.
That was always something we wanted to do. And then like between Ned and I writing the songs, that was always a bit of a goal as well. Like we wanted to, I guess you would say it's like that's the challenge of can we write a full length of this kind of music and record it, and it's like a 24-minute LP. So
it's on the as far as
it's on the
LPs
EP
go,
end
it's
of
pretty,
LPs.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But still, it was a challenge. Like putting that amount of music together, and anyone that can do an album is like, I'm sort of at the point now where it's like, yeah, someone's like, oh, it's not a very good album, but you're like, do you know what fucking goes into these things? It's crazy.
Well,
like just every part of it. And we're definitely not perfectionists, but that when I'm talking about like a challenge, we were like, can we get 8 songs together? We love every one of them. We tried to take the approach that there was no parts where we were left wanting. It's like every section was dialed in and written over time. But I think once the split was done, back to your question, like, and we were comfortable with the lineup, got our, first big tour out of the way, like, okay, well, this is the next logical thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just a matter of getting the songs together. Like that was initially it was just like when the songs are done, that's when we'll do it. But then it started to drag a bit and we're like, we have to do the self-imposed deadline thing because that'll light a rocket under our ass.
Yep.
So we did that, or I kind of did that to, I don't think Reese was stoked on having to just force these songs.
It was a
into
lot, but it's like, someone had to do it. Oh, it was for sure. But but for context as well, like, I don't know how many, maybe 2 or 3 of the songs on the album already existed and we were playing them when I joined.
It's one of those records where it was like, it's kind of like a compilation almost, like a mixtape where it's like, yeah, like we were playing 2 or 3 of the songs when we were touring, like doing those first couple of tours around like Adelaide and Sydney and stuff. And then when we went to Southeast Asia, half of the album was played on that tour. So those songs were super fucking dialed in.
Yeah.
We had lyrics, we had the vocals all done. And then it was like, all right, we got to do 4 more songs. So you've got songs that, when you're talking about how was it like planned or whatever, some of the songs at least, we have me and Ned have a bit of a riff bank where it's like, I think it's pretty common where, Ned has some of these riffs that are just like fucking belters and we couldn't fit them into songs.
Yeah.
So this was the chance to like, all right, that riff we have to use that riff. So like Civilian track 4, the main hook riff in that that had been sitting in a Dropbox drive for like, I don't know, for like 4 or 5 years.
That's crazy.
And I was like a dog with a bone with that riff. I was like, we have to figure this out, have to figure that. So that song ended up coming together over a couple of months, but it had been dormant for 4 years or something. Yeah. Some of the songs we'd figured out really quickly with Dan and had been playing them for like 2 years. One of the songs we just wrote, just going over riffs in like my bedroom with an electric kit, and Reese just started blasting and we're like, oh shit, hang on, put that together. And it was like a 30-minute put it together song. So it's, I don't think you can tell, hopefully, which songs were 2-3 years old and which were 2 weeks old.
And I think that's down to Lewis and making it all sound cohesive and of the same kind. Like, so at least I can't tell.
Yeah.
So.
And also it was never like the album was never like a. I think of it more of like the mixtape compilation kind of thing up until the point we were at, rather than, going off to the bush and doing a songwriting retreat and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
that's what I want to do next.
Yeah,
everyone wants to do that.
I've seen the Terminal Sleeper currently at a riff retreat. So.
Yes,
got a riff retreat. Yeah.
Yes,
so that'll be the next record. But
okay.
I think this is how this record came together, and it wasn't like, we want to try and do this or whatever. It was just like, let's capture everything we've been doing. Dan's in the band now. Reese has got his chops up with, he's been in the band a few years at this point. Let's just put it all together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the record is called Human Salvage.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible title.
Mm.
Hard as fuck. Comes out on Feb 4th.
Step forward.
Through Bereave and God
Bereave and God,
Records.
yep.
Shout out to Lewy, friend of the show.
Big shout out to
Um,
Big Lou. Yeah.
We'll
Good
get
man.
into that in a sec, but I
Yeah.
want to kind of like stop on that point because I
Okay.
had him on the show towards the end of last year, and he was here TMing. I think it was like a Starve Splinter co-headline tour. He was
we-
like doing stuff for them.
We played on that tour.
Yeah, sick. Well, this is kind of what I'm getting at. So we had Louis in the studio. We're like talking, doing the fucking pod, and then kind of like off mic, I was like, oh, like what else you got going on? And he's like, well, it's not announced yet, but we've got that Fit for an Autopsy tour coming up with Volatile. And I was like, oh, that's fucking dope.
Yeah.
And he was like, and just quietly, he's like, I think I've locked in the next band for Big. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
what is it? And he's like, do you know Tumour? And I was like, yeah, I know the name. And I was like, I had Dan on the show for Plovers. Like, I know that he's in that band now. And he's like, they sent through the record. He's like, and it fucking smokes. He's like, it's so fucking good. He's like, and I'm keen to like check them out live before we can kind of like figure out all the details and stuff.
Yeah.
But he was gassed up about it.
Yeah.
So that made me gassed up about it
Sick.
to get you guys on the show
Perfect.
and listen to the record.
Perfect.
And it does indeed smoke. It's fucking heavy as
Thank
shit.
you. Shout out,
Thanks,
Louis.
man.
So shout out to Louis, friend of the show.
Mhm.
But talk to me about how that connection came about. So like you put this amalgamation record together of a bunch of different stuff from the Riff Bank.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get into the recording in a little bit.
Sure. Yeah.
But like, how does the connection with Louis and Big come about? Did you shop it around to anyone else or?
No, but we did. We were always like this. This needs to be like a label thing.
Yep.
Like we did DIY, like everything up until that point, like DIY tour, DIY release, artwork, all that sort of stuff. But I guess that's another thing. We're always like we want to work with the label just because like there's so much more you can do in that regard.
It helps.
Anything from distro to the community around them, which is
it's also just cool. Like you're in a
It's
band.
cool, yeah.
You're in a band.
Yeah.
You want to be on a label.
yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
So and already like the record's not even out. It's just like this is why we fucking did it because
Yeah.
like Louis has just been so helpful and supportive through the whole thing. So the way that came about was we played with Honest Crooks like years ago.
Okay.
And I think that was the first time we crossed paths. And then we played with Volatile a couple of times, maybe once, maybe twice. And then saw that Louis was starting a label.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of bands that were going on the label that were kind of like in our, I guess like the hardcore death metal crossover thing. And we're
Yeah.
like, cool, there's like someone that's, that we know that's like really switched on, really active,
Doing that sort of thing.
doing this really
doing it
niche
right.
thing,
Yeah.
doing it right.
Yeah.
And just like how active he is as well. Like,
Yeah.
so we were like, well, if we're going to go local, like that's like, admittedly we were like, do we try and do the US or European label kind of thing? I think at a point we were just like, no, like let's focus on backyard first. And it was basically like, well, like we love what Louis is doing with, I think he put out like, it's like the Wetwork split and like he started working with Severed who we played with
The
and
Death Tax EP.
Death Tax especially, yeah. Put out Aaron shit for him and it was like, cool, we know these people. It's like similar sound to us, so like that's going to be a good community to be in. Louis is like actively TMing now as well, so
Yeah.
like that's fucking awesome. So what we did, like Dan and I were having lots of chats about like how the fuck do we actually do this? Like how do we do the label thing and make sure it stands out? And like to be honest, we did put a lot of sweat into that part of it. So like
Yeah.
we wanted to make sure the record was done, it was mixed, it was mastered. We had tour plans up our sleeves. I went sort of mantle over the artwork and
Which we'll get into in a sec because it rocks.
we did the old EPK. All we haven't done yet is a fucking street team.
Yeah.
Which is, gonna bring that back.
Get some stickers.
Get some stickers.
We'll slap them down.
So when we went to Louis, we were like, look, man, like we've crossed paths before. We love what you're doing. Here's the record. Here's how it's all going to look. Here's what we want to do. And we like Dan and I especially had plenty of chats where we're like, we need to make this so it's like the label is like, okay, the music sounds sick, but from a, labels are half of its marketing, right? So we're like, we need to make it for them so they have to do as minimal work as possible and just sort of back us on what we're doing.
This is the marketing stuff
So-
that we're circling back to.
Yeah.
You guys are already in that headspace.
I guess
So yeah, little capitalist.
We,
Yeah.
It's funny you
Yeah.
bring that up though, because I had
Yeah.
the guys from Melancholia on the show,
Okay, yeah.
and they were talking about how they basically got a deal with Nuclear Blast.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
through,
yeah.
through basically the exact same kind
Yeah.
of scenario. So like,
Shit, we should have gone Nuclear Blast.
but like Alex was saying that like the record, like he like conceived of the band as like the mastermind,
Mhm.
got the people to like play on it and record it, had all of the visuals done, had a nice fancy EPK,
Yep.
which isn't like a need to do, but it is nice to have if you're going to try and like do those high level pitches.
Apparently, it stands out now.
It absolutely does.
I
So-
don't think like there's maybe like an age bracket where people don't know what they are.
Yeah.
But we're all over 30, so we're like, that's what you did when you,
Yes.
you did an EPK and
Yeah.
sent it to
Really?
the book.
that's wild.
Oh shit! Sorry.
No. I didn't know that they're
Yeah.
becoming like a lost art.
I think
like
the
an
kids
APK.
like don't really know what they are. And
That's
have-
what I mean.
And,
It's-
and have like no idea.
Yeah,
Damn.
it's just like, yeah, well, I don't know. Well, like we did that, and it was like Louis' response was like, I'm paraphrasing, but he was like, look, I don't have to really do anything, so I've got to do it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and
Which
he's
is,
like, the
which is
record
what the
rips.
Melancholia guy said. Like
Yeah.
they had that conversation with
Mm.
Nuclear Blast, and they're like, "We're ready to hit the ground
Yeah,
now.
Mhm.
All you got to do is like give us the contract,
Yeah.
and we're fucking good to go. Like
Yeah.
we can play shows. We got the live rig.
Yeah.
We got songs. We got an album. We got artwork.
Yeah.
Like we're good to go. We
Yeah.
just need the stamp of approval.
yeah, and just like the help of the label stuff, like
Yeah.
talking to people and
Just like distro and all the like
Distro,
logistical
yeah,
sort of stuff.
and then like bouncing ideas as well. And when we're talking about like doing shows and stuff, like Louis been a bit of a sounding board for that. Merch, everything. But like when he said that to us, it was like, just fucking under the table high fives with Dan. It was just like, we fucking,
Well,
it's exactly what we wanted to hear. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like I don't know. I put myself in like the other person's shoes, and like they're already
oh,
they're already working with
100%, yeah.
like so many different bands that are killing it as well, and it's just kind of like you're going to be an addition to that, and you're going to be an extra load. So it's just like,
Yeah.
if the shoe was on the other foot, I'd kind of be, not expecting that sort of thing. But it's your best foot forward, and like it was nice that Louis appreciated that too. And
Yeah.
I guess like in return, yeah, like you said, he's offered like so much help and advice around like all the other stuff too. And I think just like because he's seen how willing we are, like how serious we are about it. So
Yeah.
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 And I think like at that kind of like indie kind of label level, it really does help because like when you're working with a bunch of different bands on a sizable kind of roster, like you can't really like put on the manager hat for every single band and kind of like scrape together the
Straight
promo
up.
shot and like
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of like wrangle people together. And like some bands need that little bit of extra help. But like you
Yeah.
said, like you guys are in your 30s, done bands before,
Yeah.
kind of know what the bits and pieces are.
yeah,
And you
yeah,
just had that frame of mind of like, well, let's get
Yeah.
everything assembled together, ready to go first,
Yeah.
before we have the convo,
Yeah.
which I think is important because a lot of
Yeah.
people try and hit the ground running and then they're like, oh,
Yeah.
you want links to the songs? Oh, let me go find the links. Like,
yeah.
I can't even tell you the amount of bands who send me stuff for the pod and then like don't put a link to the music, and it's like, you're a band, man. Like, where's the link? Like, just like
Copy paste.
I don't have to go searching for
Man.
it. Send me the link.
I got so many Dropbox links it'll make your head spin.
yeah, I feel like there's too many Dropbox links. It's
Yeah.
probably like a
Too many Slack channels.
threshold.
Slack
Oh,
channels.
don't-
We got the
Brutal. This is
like
an unk chat
I'm
now.
outing the band. We have a
Dirty.
band Slack.
Oh man, we just unks. Yeah.
We're not doing
That's
we're-
the marketing group chat.
we're not
Slack
doing
channel.
we're not doing any drain shows. We're like once they find out about the Slack group.
Let's talk about the record now in depth, though. So, like,
Yeah, that's
Human
fair.
Salvage, incredible title. The
Mm.
record, sonically, I think really speaks to what you were talking about before, Dane, which is like every piece of the band in terms of influence is all kind of in that
Awesome.
melting pot, potluck kind of analogy that you were using before. Because like there's grindy bits in there.
Yep.
There's a little slam part in there.
Mhm.
There's mosh-ish adjacent stuff. Like I wouldn't call you guys a mosh band, but there's stuff that you could mosh to if you were so inclined.
I hope so.
But there's plenty of hard riffs in there.
Yeah.
So like in terms of like heavy,
Yep.
it's fairly broad in its approach to heavy.
Yeah.
So talk to me about how you take that sonic approach into crafting a concept of human salvage
Yeah.
in the record.
So the sonic part of it's like pretty yeah, like what you've said's like pretty much nail on the head about how we subconsciously approach it. We say we're a death metal band because it's the easiest sort of compass point,
Like reference point.
yeah.
Death metal's pretty broad. Like
Yeah, but recently it's been like DM/HC crossover, like the new crossover kind of thing,
yeah.
which is the death metal hardcore thing's pretty prevalent now and has been for a long fucking time. So again, talking about like marketing and explaining it to people, it's like death metal backbone, but we've got all of these bits. And again, we never set out to be like, we are going to be a death metal band of this style. So when we talk about like the collective inspiration points, it's pretty fucking slim. Like I'd say like we all like Cannibal Corpse, but it's not really the steer on the sound. It's just like, oh, we all like, if we're like, oh, can you do a bit like, you know, this song, or like Reese is like, oh, that section's like off that Cannibal Corpse record, and we're like, yeah, kind of, like maybe a bit close, but yeah, sure. But you know, like with this record, if there's like Ned and I guess we're listening to a lot of sort of mid-era Morbid Angel and Deicide and shit like that, of course. But when you talk about the band's special interest informing the different flavorings of the track, so like, you know, Reese has he plays he's in Diploid, which is like noise grind, hardcore kind of shit.
Also a heavy band, but like
so heavy, but
like
completely different,
like eccentrically heavy.
Yeah. So his drumming style is informed by, you know, stuff like when he found out about the negative approach to it, he lost his fucking mind. So like that gives you an idea of where he's coming from, and like, you know, we'll do on the when we're working out a song, we're like, you know, like the hatred surge bit, and he'll be like,
yeah,
got it. You know, Ned's coming from a background where like Ned and I would like drive to practice together, and 90% of the time we're listening to like Children of Bodom and Symphony X.
Nerd shit.
Which everyone else in the band fucking despises.
You're not putting any synth parts on any of the songs? Symphonic elements? Some strings?
TBC. Yeah.
Clean
Riff
vocals,
retreat.
synth, percussion. Dan's like the, you know, 2000s metalcore guy, right?
Yeah, respect.
That's your special interest?
Yes.
Yeah.
Shout out the name of the podcast.
Yeah.
Misery Signals. Yeah.
I'm like, grew up listening to melodic death, like Soilwork and Darkane and Dissection and shit like that. So
At the Gates.
At the Gates is like pretty all over the, got its paws all over
That's
the
one
stuff
of the
that
collective.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everyone
I think
loves that
we,
band.
yeah, we all
Can't
we all,
not.
Yeah. So there's all like there's melodic death coming in, there's power violence coming in, there's grindcore coming in, there's a bit of metalcore coming in. Like I fucking love hardcore, so not so much like, you know, classic hardcore, but I think we all love like Nails and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there's all this stuff coming into it with the death metal sort of through line.
We were talking about it before, about like listening to the previous stuff that the band's been doing, and then I was using that as like a reference point to listen to Human Salvage and be like, kind of, what's the shift? What was the approach? To me, it has like more of a stripped back kind of like D beat kind of orient. Kind
It's probably Reese doing that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds a little bit more like, I want to say straightforward, but just in more like traditional kind of just like drum and bass patterns, and then like doing kind of whatever kind of guitar shit you want. But like, I'm thinking like Through the Balustrade, like the first single, that's like under 2 minutes. So that's like almost like a power violence kind of like face melter. But then on the record, you've got other tracks that are like 4 minutes. So you're like, you're not kind of like wedding yourself to one kind of like approach. You kind of just like going wherever you want.
I think for me as well, like I would like have that little bit in the back of my head, like you hear Kevin Smith, the filmmaker, like when he was in his peak stoner podcast era, you used to always hear him talk about like with filmmaking and storytelling and shit. He's like everyone's got, you know, their own interests, hobbies, influences.
Yeah.
No one's going to have the same combo of things. So like when like earlier on in the band, I think we pretty much embraced that idea where it was like Reese comes from this grind power violence punk background. Let him fucking cook. Let him do that shit. Let him do D beats over Dying Fetus riffs, you know, like, and see what it comes out like. Yeah, and Ned and I love melodic shit. Like I said, we're listening to Symphony X like with a straight fucking face on the way to practice and being like, this we need to do this shit. Like, so you know, one of the songs has like a minute guitar outro with like 8 guitar tracks, and it's really grandiose and over the top, and then it goes into like a 2-step song, like the Well Piece of Shit, which starts with a 2-step riff. It's just like
favorite song on the record, by the way.
Really
cool.
Yeah, 100%.
That track's like, that was the curveball. We were like, can we do a song that goes from 2-stepping into the Dying Fetus riff into like a the last breakdown's like very Meshuggah inspired.
Yeah, it rules.
And it was like, can we do all of those things in one song? Apparently we can.
Yeah,
cool.
yes you can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely the standout track for me.
Crazy.
And then, because I had like the stream playing in the background, I'm like doing notes and stuff. Every time that starts, I'm like, ooh, go back to the stream to check what it is.
Yeah.
And every time I'm like, well, piece of shit.
Awesome.
That's great. I mean, it's cool to you say that as well, because when we were recording, I think Lewis said like a different track was his favorite. Obviously, people have different tastes. Who would have thought, right? But I think the fact that we brought that melting pot in, and each track is like there's a range of tempos and sounds and everything else across it.
I hear it like that. Every song's a different.
It makes for like a more palatable listen. You know, ironically, for a heavy record, I think like bands can do a certain sound and that's all they do, and they can do it really well, but at the end of the day it is that sound. And like, I'm not talking shit on that, you know, there's bands like Ants, like Nails, bands we've talked about that do that thing really well,
the same song over and over, and it's fucking sick song.
I mean, AC/DC made a 50-year career out of doing that, so
100%.
no shit.
But I feel like it just really helps it helped us get to that album length and have it as still like a cohesive enough release, I think.
Yeah, and the other thing, like, again, going back to that analogy of like, you know, the telling your story kind of thing, like, we definitely weren't doing that consciously, but it was more just like, let's see what happens. Like, we're not going to go, it has to sound like this. And even that came even down to the production, which we'll probably talk about. But I just have always had that in the back of my head. I'm like, oh, is this too, you know, at the gatesy or whatever? And it's like, well, we can do that, and then we can, if we can get it to cohesively go into a 2-step bit or a beatdown bit, it's like, that's cool. Like, maybe someone hasn't thought of mixing those two things together, and not in a whack way. Like, it's just, so that's always been appealing to us, and the way the record came out is that approach as well. And I think it's also, for better or worse as well, takes like going back to the DM hardcore thing, like DM/HC thing. I think like someone's in a hardcore could listen to it and go, cool, they're doing the Dying Fetus with pit parts kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or someone into death metal could listen to it and go like, oh, cool, it's a bit more straightforward and less technical and a bit more moshy. So it's like, we want to sort of play in both worlds, which is pretty tricky to do. But
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
think you guys pull it off, and like I could definitely see you on a more hardcore oriented lineup and be like, that fits.
oh, we've done it.
And
Like, yeah,
or
yeah.
you could play
Yeah.
the more like, you know, long hair, fucking
Yeah.
battle
Yeah.
battle vest, fucking
We
metal
towed
crowd.
that line, like the Starve show that you mentioned before that we played. I think the week after we played at the Bendigo with it was Gutless or something like that.
Yeah, perfect.
But it's just like it's pretty weird, kind of. Like it's such a different vibe from show to show. I'd say we sort of play more metal shows than we do hardcore, but like it is cool that we can kind of, you know, I guess be
Keep it
seen as appealing enough to be put on both lineups. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
like
it's cool.
the conversations around like those two worlds being separate is like 40 years ago. Like
Oh, no,
they're
yeah.
so enmeshed now that like it's silly to try and like think of like, well, I only listen to metal, but I don't listen to hardcore. It's like
Yeah.
they're too enmeshed, brother. They're too
Yeah.
they're too broad. You can swing between them at will.
It's all like no one fucking cares.
No one gives a shit.
No one
It's
gives a shit,
2026. No
Thank
one
you,
cares.
Power Trip. We can thank Power Trip for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Black
thanks, Power
Breath,
Trip.
all that sort of stuff. Yeah. Sick.
Speaking of the production, though,
Yep.
one of the elements that I thought was a little bit different in listening to the older stuff was like it kind of had less of the overdriven HM2 bombastic kind of in your face kind of production.
Okay. Yeah.
The production feels a little bit more nuanced and a little bit more stripped back. It still hits, it's still
Yep.
fucking heavy, but like I just didn't get like this is like a Black Breath kind of record. You know
Right,
what I mean?
cool,
Like it
yeah.
has like a little bit of its own kind of like sonic profile going on, which I would imagine is like in conversation with Lewis on like how you want it to sound.
Yeah, it was. So that's interesting too, because the way that was approached was more like, you know, the way Lewis likes to do thing is come meet the band, have a chat, come to a show, see how it sounds live sonically, or like, you know, at least start to form an idea of how everyone meshes together.
Yeah.
And he was pretty upfront from the start. Like, he likes to just try and capture, not do the old like, I want to capture how you sound live, because it's live and record's different, right? So, he was more like, yeah, let's capture that like aggression or that energy, that kind of thing. And we were also coming to it from a point where we weren't doing the, you know, like we didn't want to go like do what Fatal Realm do or find a resting place where we're like, you know, we want a pingy snare and just doubled up vocals and super 90s and just sound weird. We were like, to Lewis, like, cool, you take that approach. None of us are gear nerds. Like, we know what we like, but we're not necessarily like, we have to use this bit of gear and we have to try all these amp combos. It was like, as soon as we hit like a good sound, we're like, cool, let's go for it.
Yeah.
And with the mixing, it was very much like Lewis went off, did a first pass on it. It was like, is this ballpark? And it was kind of like, yeah, man, this is sick. Just push the kicks a little bit more, like that kind of thing. That was kind of it. Like, it was very, very organic, very like hands over to the pro. He's seen us enough times to know what we kind of sound like. Yeah. And there was no prescribed, just like the music. There was no like, we wanted to sound like a death metal record. We wanted to sound like however you think you're going to be able to capture the
essence of the band or whatever,
yeah. If you want to talk about it like that. And, you know, Dan's vocals are pretty different to like the typical sort of barky, you know, death metal hardcore crossover vocals. So we're like, and again, like Reese has got the real sort of like almost like caveman-y boss.
just pummeling,
Yeah,
but,
he's just fucking pummeling. So we're like, let's just capture that. Like, however it comes out, that's how it comes out.
Yeah.
You know.
With the like concept of the record, so you guys have mentioned working on the lyrical stuff together.
Yeah.
So there's a bit in the EPK that we talked about that says that the album is loosely conceptualized as a time capsule of a failed society at its last breath. Let's dig into that. What are you trying to say with Human Salvage?
I'm not sure. No, that's
You better be.
Did we write that? So the title was so there's a few things about the record that were pretty preconceived.
Mm-hmm.
Record title was picked years ago, like before Dan joined the band.
Yeah.
Because when we did like a little 2-track promo thing, and Angus, the singer at the time, had this sample that he wanted to use of, it was like, I don't know what year it was from. I'm going to say like either the 30s or the 40s. And it was these sort of like army exit interviews with like psychotherapists from people coming back from the war.
Okay.
And it was this real early footage of like talk therapy with soldiers. And
Brutal.
it was almost like the therapists didn't really know what they were doing. And the soldiers had like, they were all in shell shock and just just coming freshly off the boat back from war. And it's got this really cool part where the narrator is talking about in really like over the top evocative terms about the minds of these soldiers coming back, and they're like, you know, their minds have been twisted by metal and shrapnel, and you know, this is human salvage. And so we clipped that up, put it on this
Nice.
this promo, and so there's a bit of like a callback as well.
I see.
And we were the same. Well, like that is the hardest fucking 2 words to
Yeah,
put
it's
together. Also got the double meaning, you know, it's like human salvage, as in like humans falling apart. And then when you get to the sort of lofty conceptual shit, which I guess got tempered a little bit, but when we had that title, so we kind of worked backwards a little bit. But the other meaning to it, I guess, is like the lyrics then eventually became this sort of like song by song exercise about like, let's pick apart all the shit about society, as we said in that little blurb there, all the things that are sort of going wrong and that we want to sort of eviscerate, and sort of look at it like, is a human salvageable? Because look at all the fucking shit we've done.
Are we at the dead end of what this thing is?
The answer is no. But like, that was sort of like, we originally were like, can we do the old concept record? And for 8 tracks of death metal, it was pretty lofty. But instead what we did was, all right, that's the theme. Every song's going to be something different that we're pissed off about. And that'll give us enough sort of ammo for Dan to get fucking wild behind the mic, us to write harder riffs. So it's sort of, we just ran the gamut of things we're not happy about. Sort of reads like a bit of fucking socialist manifesto, I guess.
Yep.
That's cool. And yeah, the title sort of was just like the little cherry on top.
The guiding kind of principle.
Yeah,
behind it.
so it's like more thematic than conceptual, but it was definitely conscious, and that was something that was, I wanted to use that as a lyrical content once Gus had departed the band, because he was writing all sort of like mental health stuff and he was steering all of that. So I was like, all right, well, you know, the other guys weren't really that interested in writing lyrics, so I started that. Dan joined, and then we had a bit of back and forth about that. And I think probably like the last 3 songs that we wrote for the record, Dan did the lyrics for that. So then we just, you know, chopped and changed a few things, showed it to the band in case they didn't like anything. But yeah, that's the general theme of the record. Yeah.
Dan, what's it like for you being able to like write lyrics and put words to paper that you're going to scream in people's faces? Different to blast beats and doing double kick.
Yeah, different for sure. It's not something that I have really like gravitated towards as part of the whole vocalist thing, though. I do like doing it, especially as part of a concept. It was really fun to do it. Like,
We kind of needed that though, because it was like, otherwise we're just going to end up talking about, you know, like killing orcs or something, you know.
Which is still sick.
Fucking sick.
It was cool to keep it conceptual enough that the stuff that, like, you know, it's still like relevant a year later. Like now, like the world just keeps getting worse and worse, and you can still draw from it. Like we record it. Sometimes, you know, you'll pinpoint like a specific event that happened to do it, like a song about that or whatever. But then, like in a year, it's like kind of like it's, you know, but
it all got worse, if anything.
Exactly. Yeah. So
pretty reliable that things will still be some kind of shit.
Correct.
Oh yeah.
Correct. It's an age old, you know, heavy music trope for sure. But I never did any sort of writing at all. Anyway, so it's not like I had some creative writing past or anything, and then I could just apply that to lyrics. And it was fun, but the thing that I enjoyed the most, to be honest, was, and the thing that I still think for me is more important, is like the mouth sounds, like the phrasing, the syllables that hit. Like I even some of the lyrics that Dane had already pre-penned before I joined, I remember like tweaking some of it because I was like, well, if the vowel sound here is like an R instead of an O or something like that, it's going to hit way harder, and it's just going to like, so like pretty
Already thinking like a vocalist. I like that.
yeah. Well, I guess probably a pretty common thing. Yeah, but I guess like, but I found the
I got to think about what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
I found the phrasing, and I guess maybe like the rhythmic side of my background as a drummer came out as well.
100%, yeah.
Where it's like I care more about sort of the phrasing of things and how it hits rhythmically than what the actual word is. Of course, the word has to make sense within the song. But
I think we all did that because like when I was writing that sort of first batch of lyrics, it was the same. I was like, I want the lyrics to do like a, be on the upbeat or whatever. So it's got to be here. It's going to be here. Or like in this gap here, you're going to follow the drums instead of the guitars and that kind of thing. And I guess we're all thinking about it rhythmically, but we definitely didn't let the lyrics become an afterthought. It was like
no.
That drove the sort of pissed off nature of it big time.
Yep.
But I remember at first, that was still sort of that period where Dan was figuring out fucking mouth sounds and stuff. And I was like, all right, I'll do this. You take that up.
Actually,
And
like
then,
you helped a lot because I remember I was just putting all my attention and focus into like actually getting the vocals off the ground, let alone, writing like, verses and things like that. And you were, had already done some and you like doing that as well. And yeah, I'm not downplaying the meaning of the lyrics in any way whatsoever. I still think it's important. And like being able to feel it live is the most important thing at the end of the day
100%.
as well.
Yeah.
I think like when it got to those songs that you were writing as well, like it's like marginal, but I feel like they come off even more aggressive. Like
Well, I did Balustrade.
through the Balustrade, because that was one of the last songs we wrote for the record. And I had a bit of, like, I wrote most of that song, and I had a bit of a, in my head, and then Dan was like, "No, I got this." And I think the lyrics were about sort of, oh no, wait, I'm thinking of Serotonin Debt.
Serotonin Debt is about Big Pharma, essentially.
Yeah. And that comes across so, like, I remember the first time we jammed it and we're just like, this sounds so fucking angry. Like
Well, that one I feel for sure.
Like,
as a sufferer of said Big Pharma. But
and then when we get to like songs about like housing and wealth hoarding and shit, like, again, shout out Vic Socialists, where, like, when it comes to those songs, like, Dan locks in.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah, you can really tell a lot about me by which songs I go the hardest. And,
I mean, the whole record goes hard, but there are definitely moments where you sound like primarily pissed.
I think some moments called for it as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll talk about the recording and everything, but there was like special, I guess, like attention put into certain areas.
Yeah. One point that I would be remiss if I didn't mention, because we've already kind of linked it at the top, let's talk about the art direction. Because I know that that's kind of your whole like bread and butter. And I do think it's one of the elements of the record that is the most striking.
Sick.
It has like a really like cohesive, very kind of like visually arresting kind of like presentation. I love the whole like, topography, the
Sick.
red combined with the album cover, which I just learnt is Dan's Shiny Dome.
Oh yeah.
So talk to me about that. So you've got like the title, which is years old.
Yep.
You've got the music, which is this amalgamation of stuff coming out of the riff bank.
Yep.
So like you're putting together all these pieces over time.
Yep.
When do you actually sit down to conceive of the visual stuff?
Same thing.
Okay.
I reckon that cover image has been in my head since the band started. So
Wow, okay.
like there was a bit of pacing to how we got there. It was like early on when we were trying to figure out the sound, it was like, I think we did that pretty grim black and white cut and paste kind of thing for a while. And it was like, that's going to be the first, whatever, 2 or 3 releases we do.
Which is very like grind,
Yeah.
D-beat, power violence, like visual aesthetic. It very much keys you into a particular type of sound.
Yeah.
Whereas like the cover for Human Salvage could be EDM, could be
That's what I thought.
could be a fucking
I'm
pop
sorry.
record. Like
Yeah.
nothing is really screaming
Yeah.
to me what Tumour sounds like.
Cool. That's good.
Is that by design?
So even the demo, the split, all that sort of stuff was like, it looks gnarly, it looks heavy, it looks grim. But we were definitely taking, again, it's like, all right, we're framed around this sort of death metal as a style.
Yeah.
But it didn't want the artwork to look death metal because, as we know, that shit all looks the same.
Yes.
It looks fucking awesome, but it all looks the same. And just sort of, I don't know, like that's definitely my job bleeding over where I'm like, how do we set you apart? Like,
Which I think is kind of important, especially for a debut record.
I keep doing this where it's sounding really self-deprecating, but it is definitely intentional. So those first couple of releases were like, we'll do the cut and paste, grindcore, power violence kind of thing. And that can subvert the expectations a little bit. And I guess that played into the, like, is it hardcore? Is it death metal? Is it black metal? Like, what is this? Like,
yeah, like it could straight up just be like a post-punk record.
Yeah.
Even if you saw like
Yeah.
the name in like Old English style, like font or whatever, like you could be like, is this a Viagra Boys record? Like, I don't fucking know.
So that image, though, that we use for the cover, can you bring it up on the screen?
Absolutely. I will drop it in right now.
Because like I can describe what it looks like, but here.
Yeah, I'll have all the visuals, brother. Don't worry.
That was like really early on, like talking about riff bank, like I've got the image bank thing kind of going as well. So in some like old references, like I had this very similar image. Probably won't talk about how close it is.
That's Reese in his beanbag. He'll settle.
He's grinding.
He's grinding. He usually does like circles to find the right like place to like settle. So it's not getting picked up on mic, but and yeah, that image was like has always stuck with me. Like that's an album cover, and it's pulled from it's like an old Salvation Army campaign that is so tonally hectic for a Salvation Army campaign. But it was like back in the day where like Misery sold. Like, like it was this image. It was very similar to Dan's Head Wrapped in Chains. The campaign was called Relieve the Suffering or something like that, which in itself could be like a Nails record, right? Yeah.
So I always had that image. I'm like, I either need to buy that original image and use it for something, or we recreate it, which is what we did. And it was always like, I'm reserving this for the album. Like, I can't, as much as I love the demo and shit, like, I'm not wasting it on a goddamn demo. It's definitely album
material.
And it was also, like, good because it was a bit of a shift in the band too, right? So,
also, just, like, very quickly, like, it's funny that you say that, like, the title has been around in, like, a separate kind of reference for so long. Because they work together so well.
For sure. Like
for independent ideas, you know what I mean?
But it was definitely like I saw that image once. It's actually by a Australian graphic designer. It's like from the 70s or something, the image that it's a homage to. I remember seeing it like in an exhibition and just being like, oh, that is so fucking hard. Like it's so visceral. Like I don't know if I'd donate money to that cause or whatever, but like it's definitely like a cool record. Like so that was always like that's gonna be the cover, really tight crop. Really grainy, really detailed. We got a friend of a friend, Rob, to shoot the cover for us. Amazing photographer. He just like I showed him the reference, told him the basic concept. Spent about an hour trying to get the chains to stay on Dan's head. Shot the image, and it was like, maybe like 5.
Show him the dome.
We're not lying. That's
just like 5 shots in, it was just like bang, it's done.
It's done.
And then we shot like a little video that we've been using for the teasers, and it's just this like you see it, and you're like it's suffocating and tense and
It was.
aggressive. Yeah, like
It was. Which sold
the way we
it,
shot it was like we couldn't get the chains to stay up. So if you look really, really, really closely at that photo, you can just see like one of my fingers because I'm crouching behind Dan.
Trying to
Behind
pull.
the no, I was literally like grabbing the chains and just pulling it and going like, and just going like, "You're right, bro. You're right, bro." He's like, "Just take the fucking photo. Just take the fucking photo." Like, "You sure, man? You sure?" He's like, "Come on." And this went on for like half an hour, but like
Incredible.
it paid off.
Yeah. Perseverance.
Yeah, took the chains off and he was all dimpled in his head. So
Suffering for
Yeah.
his art. You know what I mean?
absolutely
Happy
suffering.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We got the shot.
we did.
Got the shot.
We did. It's fucking awesome having a designer in the band. It's like the graphic design portion of things. Someone who works in marketing. It's the stuff that I love. I just don't have the skills to do. So it's just like nice to see all that come together as well.
Yeah, a lot of
It's cool.
spare time too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that rolled into the packaging, which was like
Yeah.
that's like the vinyl package and the CD package and all the pro and stuff. That has to be a really stark contrast. Like so, the bright red, the black letter script. That was sort of like part of that concept where it was like, again, like the manifesto kind of thing, where it was like we wanted to sort of feel like a bit of a scroll or a document or something like that, where it's like that original concept of it's like a time capsule. Like, you put this on in, like Dan said, you put this on in 20 years and it's like, that was all the shit they were pissed off about. And that very, very loosely informed that packaging style of like very, like an old document or something. So,
Yeah, and that's what I appreciate the most about it, because like there isn't anything in that visual identity and branding that ties you to really like the genres of music that you that you work in, but also like time period. Like you could show me that record in like a worn vinyl sleeve from like the 70s, and I'd be like, fair enough.
Yeah, the way it was shot was kind of like that. It's like it looks
and that kind of timeless thing is like all good art has an element of like timelessness to it. So like I think you kind of went for the right angle, despite how like abrasive and full blown the music sounds.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought that it was like it looked like it could be a hip hop like album cover or
100%.
something. And like if I was
That could
browsing
be
in a
that could
record
be
shop,
a DMX record or like
Yeah,
an exhibit record or some shit.
But like if someone found it in a record store, or I was browsing and I didn't know the band, I'd be so intrigued by it. It just has like, to me, I'm such a fan of the art, so like I don't know, I just gas this guy up forever. But
and no type either. That was like, again, one of those things. Like when I joined the band, I was like, we were collectively like, we're going to do an album eventually. We're going to tour eventually. We're going to go overseas eventually, and we're not going to have type on the record cover. Like that was like,
Love it.
Yeah, one of those things.
I'm a big believer in the cover being kind of a lost art, and like being relegated to like an afterthought is kind of like a tragedy, because like scrolling through Bandcamp and seeing like the recommended records and stuff, I can't even tell the amount of times that I've like seen just a cover and been like, well, that's fucking sick. I'm going to click on that and give that a listen. Like no knowledge of the band, label, whatever, like purely the cover is the hook that kind of gets me interested.
Yeah.
And then like maybe I listen to it and it's fucking ass, but at least it got me there, you know? And there's so much music, so like anything you can do to get people to even be like a tiny bit curious about what you're doing is like worthwhile.
And we of course, like talking about the age thing again, not going full unk, but like we grew up with CD booklets and that new wave of like vinyl collecting where the packaging became important again. So pouring through lyrics, all that sort of shit. So that's, unfortunately, it's nostalgia for us. So like we,
but not toxic nostalgia, good nostalgia.
Cool. Yeah.
What's toxic nostalgia?
I don't know, just like Stranger Things and like.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah.
I would say like season 1 Stranger Things is like good nostalgia. Season 5 Stranger Things is toxic nostalgia, because it's like fucking looks like AI slop, has no like meaningful kind of like narrative to it, and there's KFC ads.
That's gonna be our-
in the middle.
That'll be-
You're right. I
Ne-
haven't seen it, but
Netflix are trying to sell like a
That'll be our
Stranger
fifth record.
Things fucking burger or some shit. So like,
what would the implications be of putting a KFC ad in your death metal record? Like, how
We
long
got
do
the
you
red-
get the
we
lawsuit?
you get the spawner,
we got
KFC
the
spawner.
we got the red and the black and the white. So
Ooh.
Yeah, it's close.
Maybe you do like a bootleg version of like the Colonel, but with chains around his head, and put that on a shirt, and then get a cease and desist.
We have the technology. Run it through AI. Yeah.
yeah, we got that.
All right, I think we should wrap up chat for the main show so we
Cool.
can get into some of the bonus round stuff.
Secret chat.
We are on
Keen
the
as.
second round of Bevs, so
Yes.
that's kind of obligatory. You've got the album release show on February 13th.
Should talk about that. Yeah,
we should
for
talk
sure.
about that.
So record comes out on the 4th, which is a few days ago.
This will come out just before the album release show.
Nice.
So
Yeah,
the record will
few days
already be
ago.
out.
Record's
People will be
out.
able to listen to
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
record, hear about all the stuff that we're talking
Here's
about.
the link. So record launch show. Yeah, we're doing it at Last Chance, one of our feels like home ground kind of place.
Yes.
Intimate, cozy, sticky floors, all that kind of good stuff. And we got label mates Death joining us,
Hell yeah, shout out.
and mixing it up with Identity Era and
Friends of the show.
Yeah. Great band.
Please on the to round out the lineup.
Yeah.
But yeah, we wanted mixed bill, some young blood on there too.
All great
Yeah.
bands.
All great bands.
I've heard good
Or Killing
things
a
about
Filler.
As Long as It Bleeds. I
Yeah.
haven't seen them yet, but heard good things.
They go hard. They opened the staff show that we played, I'm pretty sure, and I know we keep coming back to the age thing,
Yes.
but it is so fucking cool to see it's still alive and kicking, and like kids just giving it a red hot go, like metalcore specifically.
I had
I just figured it would have died off, but
No.
it's fucking awesome, man.
I was saying we had the guys from Ends in Tragedy
Yeah,
in
yeah.
here the other week,
Killing it, yeah.
and that episode will be out by the time this one's
Mm.
out, so that's fine. But I had the boys in here, and we were just chopping it up about metalcore for fucking 2 hours, which was
How do they know?
well, dude, this is the thing, right? So I had Alistair sitting here, I had James and Stevie. And when the boys came in, the first thing they saw was that poster at the back there, which is the first show, first
yeah.
like heavy show I ever
Yeah,
went to. Every Time I Die, Parkway Drive, 2005.
Crazy.
The year I graduated high school.
Mhm.
And then the boys just started laughing. And I was like, what is it? And they're like,
They weren't born.
and they're like, Alistair wasn't even born
Yeah.
in 2005. And it just like liquefied my brain like
Yeah.
on the spot. And I was like, wait,
sucks.
you're in a band that does Killing with a Smile, Parkway Drive covers, and you weren't even fucking born when the album came out. And
Yeah.
I was like, I feel the most unk
Yeah,
I've
it's
ever
like
felt
that.
in my entire life.
Like I watched
It's
that.
hard to wrap your head around,
It's
man.
crazy.
It's
man.
nuts, yeah.
It's like that. Like I watched that Hellfest DVD and New England Metal Fest DVD so
Yeah.
many times that I'm like, I'm glad they're having a fucking great time doing it. But like, it's one of those things that's like I couldn't go back to doing that.
yeah.
But I'm also like, how do they know the nuance to that level? Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
I mean, the internet exists. They can go back and listen to every era of shit that they want. So it's,
Yeah,
they got
that's
it.
true.
Anyway,
It's
so we got a bit of that
show,
flavor on the
yes.
lineup.
Yes.
If it's not sold out at this point, it probably will be pretty soon. Small room. The other bands, they've got a lot of fans as well.
yeah.
Um,
And it's a good lineup.
We're
nice
stoked
mixed
that they-
bill, which is always good.
Yeah.
yeah, stoked that they wanted to help us launch it. I think the plan is to play it front to back.
Well, I
Don't
mean, it's
quote me on that, but
24-minute
now.
record, like you could probably do that.
yeah, but no. Well, yeah, maybe 1 or 2 extras in there as well.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else that you want to plug, tease, shout out?
Look, nothing's locked in yet, as we were talking about before. So there is.
The national tour, you mentioned that you still need to tick off the list.
We need to do that.
Yes.
So let's just say
Big things coming. Watch this space.
big things always be coming.
B.I.G.
B.I.G.
B.I.G. things
So
coming.
the first opportunity we had to do that on Instagram, where
Yeah.
it's like, I think you messaged us and you're like, I know what you're doing.
Yeah, I was like, I've had this chat with Louis. I know what you're doing.
Yeah, B.I.G. things coming soon. But yeah, shout out Louis. shout out Lewis, the other Lewy, who
Yes.
recorded the record.
Shout out to Luz.
Shout out to Luz. Yeah, like those two basically made sure this record happened and is happening.
Yeah.
So they would be my biggest shout outs. And yeah,
We'll be pretty active this year. And does it? We obviously we don't know
we're
exactly.
just waiting. We're just waiting. Waiting for the record to come out. But I mean, that takes us, like I said, so much effort and energy. So
Yeah. Well, that's one of the benefits of
Yeah.
having a record release like early in the year, because like you can kind of
Yeah.
then plan what the
Yeah.
rest of the year looks like. I do feel bad for people who release a record in like December,
well,
and then it's like you're in fucking Christmas holiday period, dog.
that was on the cards. Like it's been done for a minute.
Okay.
The records have been done for a minute. So that was intentional too.
I feel like
yeah.
2026 year of the Tumour.
Yeah. So we're
Maybe.
we're try and get interstate. We're working on it. Big things coming soon. Trademark.
Yeah, we love to play. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come catch us.
Yeah.
We'll be playing a few shows around. So
Yeah.
Sick. All right. Well, Dan, thanks for coming on the show.
thanks, man.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
No worries.
Bonus round time.
Bonus round.
Hello, Owen popping in to say, please sign up for the TPD Patreon. This is what helps us keep the lights on and keep the show going. The link is at the bottom of your screen right now, patreon.com/TPDpod. All of our patrons get exclusive access to Side B of our roundup episodes, so you get a few extra tracks, as well as our feature album discussion and the full show experience. Our patrons also get exclusive access to behind-the-scenes, off-the-cuff chit-chat from all of our guest episodes. But the patrons are the ones who make all of this happen. For as little as $5 a month, you can sign up to the TPD Patreon, and it really helps us out, really helps us keep the show going. So shout out to all of our patrons, shout out to our executive producer patrons, you're the real ones, and yeah, thank you so much for watching the show.